We're not your enemy. All we want to do is take that kitten back to her home. Meow 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 meow. Good boy. I'm not really sure what just happened here, but I guess we're in the clear. I have no words. Here we are, Heimdallport. It's the main harbor that opens onto the Anor River. Ah, so that south-flowing river is the Anor. I can see a warehouse district in the distance as well. Yeah, this is a major hub for the capital's freight distribution network. Not quite as important as the transcontinental railroad or airships, but still vital. We also received a monster extermination request from here. Let's see if we can track down whoever made that request. Okay. Excuse me, would it be possible to speak with the person in charge here? Person in charge, huh? You're looking at him. Something I can help you with? Can't imagine what would draw a bunch of students to the port. We're here on a request from the Imperial Governor. We've been informed that there's a monster around here that needs to be dealt with. Oh, you guys are here about that? I just sent the request to City Hall yesterday. Didn't think they'd get anyone out here that quick. But this is my father's doing. The sheer coincidence of it has his fingerprints all over it. Well, he is the Imperial Governor after all. He can pull strings. Ah, are you Governor Regnit's son? You must be really proud to have such a hard-working dad like that. Yes, I am. Anyway, would you be willing to explain the particulars of your request to us? Sure, no problem. There's a door over there. We know the monster's lurking somewhere in there. It leads to an old underground passage, and lately, we've been hearing the howls of some beasts down there. Old underground passage, you say? You think it might be the same tunnels we went into from the hotel yesterday? It does seem like the network of passages runs under most of the city. Regardless, it seems the howling monster is to be our target this time. Might I ask how we can gain access to the underground passage? Is there some problem? This has been bugging me. I think it's something in the way you talk, but you're not a noble, are you? I am, but how does that impact our ability to do what you've requested? Maybe it doesn't, but still. The damn nobles live the high life looking down on us common folk. I can't really bring myself to ask for help from people who think they're born better than us. But it looks like the reformists have a pretty strong foothold in this part of the city. Yeah, but is that any real surprise? Actually, if that bothers you, I should mention I'm a noble too. Granted, I'm from a pretty distant part of the Empire, but still. You're kidding me, right? Our class is actually made up of both commoners and nobles. I'm a commoner myself, but Rena and Laura here have always gone out of their way to help me. Laura's skilled with the sword, and her commitment to duty is second to none. She'd never dream of looking down on people or giving less than their all. Elliot, B. My friends are telling the truth. My father was the one who assigned us this task, so if you feel you can trust his judgment... Sorry, you're right. You came out of your way to give us a hand, but it's hard to shake old beliefs. Here, I'll leave this with you. Head further along the port and go through the door you find. That'll take you into the underground passage. The layout's pretty complicated and there's water flowing down there too, so watch your step. You have my thanks. It's nothing. I'm sorry for treating you so rudely. I should be a better man than that. Always thought nobles and commoners were oil and water, but I guess there are some good nobles out there after all. I agree. Alright, we've got ourselves a monster to exterminate. Let's head down into the tunnels. Ready when you are. Before we go, I want you all to know that I really appreciate what you said. Especially you, P. I didn't expect that I'd ever hear you stick up for me. It made me truly happy. No need to thank me. There's no charge for telling the truth. Well, if you insist. Looks like these two really have patched things up. Well, I'll take that any day compared to what we had before. Alright, let's start by finding the door that leads to the underground. Yeah. Looks like it opened. If our last trip in these tunnels is anything to go by, it's not going to be easy going. Indeed, we should make sure we're thoroughly prepared. Right. Doesn't say anything about the having it to finish the other quest though, so I guess it's okay. Fish! Seems like this was built in the Middle Ages too, just like that passage we were in yesterday. You think they're connected? Even if they were, they're so far apart that I doubt we could find our way to the tunnel from yesterday. I can hear running water too. It looks like the port chief was right. This area seems like it's connected to some kind of waterway. Maybe it's even connected directly to the Inor River. Judging by the way the sound echoes, this passage is wider than yesterday's. Just as gloomy though. This is gonna be rough. Yeah, no one was expecting it to be smooth going. But at least now you and Laura can link with each other. That should make battles that much easier for all of us. Yeah, if you were looking for a chance to make up for all the worry you've caused us, well, here you go. Leave it to us. I'm looking forward to repaying our debts to you all. Looks like those two didn't waste much time putting the past behind them. I'm gonna have to be careful they don't leave me in the dust. Elliot can now use the S-Craft's 7th Rhapsody. I'm betting that's the monster we need to take care of. It looks like a gigantic crocodile. Seems pretty vicious too, and this area doesn't have very good footing either. We'll need to make sure we're fully prepared before we engage it. This is our opportunity to put our combat link to the test, V. Right.
Watch out, this is a tough one. Go! All right, let's do this!
Leave it to me!
Me!
Of course. Now! I'll get you up! Right!
Leave it to me!
Fool!
Here we go! Now's our chance! Gotcha!
Right! Shatter! Off guard! I'll take you up! Let's go! An opening!
Go! Flames, gather on my blade! Strike!
Dang.
It's my turn!
He didn't take very much damage from that at all.
Eat that!
Give it up, everyone! Right! Huh? My turn! Huh? Right! Of course. Huh?
It's my turn.
Shockwave, huh?
Let's go. An opening. My turn. Shatter. Off guard. I'll take you up.
Too slow.
Right.
My turn. Go.
Getting a lot of crits off on him, that's for sure.
My turn. Huh? My turn.
Leave it to me.
Right. Hey. You still have a lot of training to do.
That was a weak sauce boss.
Great.
I've only just begun.
Success.
Ooh, we did it. Just. B. Laura and B high-fived each other. Ha. It's hard to believe that not even 24 hours ago you two still weren't getting along. The two of you really do make an amazing team, though. With the two of you coordinating your attacks, I don't think anything stands a chance against us. No, that monster clearly had the advantage as far as brute strength is concerned. If we didn't have superior numbers, I doubt we would have emerged victorious. Yep, we've still got room for improvement. The thought of you two getting any stronger is kind of terrifying. What's wrong? Nothing much, it's just seeing those two got me thinking that I'm going to need to strengthen my own resolve soon too. What do you mean by that? Don't worry about it for now. Anyway, we ought to get back and give our report. Very well then. Is something the matter? Oh, I didn't notice this before, but does anyone else feel a slight breeze in this area? Wait. This way. You think this is like the passage we found yesterday? So there's a secret passage here too. If so, I imagine it probably opens like the last one did. Maybe this leads to somewhere else in the capital then. No way to know for sure until we open it. I suspected as much. I wonder where this leads. It's hard to be sure. We lose our sense of distance and location traveling underground like this. But if I had to guess, I'd say we're heading in the direction of... Maybe there's an exit close by? Alright, let's try and make our way outside. Hey, isn't this... We seem to have merged in the Ost district. Makia's home is here, if I'm not mistaken. Wow, I had no idea that underground passage went all the way from the port to here. That network of tunnels beneath the city really does seem to cover a vast area. It's like something out of a spy novel. I'll say. Maybe it's a sign. Was that... That must be the chime to mark the noon hour. Yeah, that's Heimdall's cathedral bell. The cathedral itself is pretty far away, over in the Sankt district, but you can hear it pretty clearly even here. Well, I think it's about time we found something to eat. How about we order to go from one of the local shops? And we don't really have much, but I'd be happy to at least treat you to coffee at our house. What? You mean Machias? You're inviting us into your home? They decided to grab some fish and chips to go from a nearby pub. With their meal in hand, they headed to Machias' house to enjoy lunch with a good cup of coffee. Ah, so this is the capital's famous fish and chips. I was expecting it to be delicious, but even still, I'm impressed. Yeah, that pub's supposed to be pretty well known for their fish and chips. I'll admit, it tastes good, but at the end of the day, it's still greasy comfort food. Better eat it while it's hot. It tastes disgusting if you let it cool off. Probably still better than wartime rations, though. What food isn't? This coffee seems pretty high class, though. It's got a nice, rich fragrance. Do you buy your own beans and grind them at home? Yeah, it looks like my father went out and stocked up not too long ago. Now and then he gets a chance to take some time away from his duties and come relax back here. And he sees this coffee as a small island of luxury in his hectic daily life, I think. That does sound like something I could see Governor Ragnitz saying. He seems like quite a respectable man to me. You'd hardly imagine a home like this belonging to an important official like an imperial governor. It's tiny. You know, it wouldn't hurt to be a little less blunt. No worries. As I said, my father and I are commoners through and through. And you might be a top official, but neither of us really saw that as a reason to change our whole lifestyle. Besides, it's not as though we don't have some attachment to this home. Ah, right. It does seem like a comfy place to live in, though. Really cozy and relaxing.
Ooh, there's a photo.
Oh, that.
Aww, look at cute little Machias there.
He looks like he had such a sweet disposition.
Yeah, before he grew up to be a stubborn old nag.
Stop nitpicking people's old family photos! Honestly.
The governor looks the same as ever, though. Is that woman next to him your older sister or something?
Close enough. She was a cousin on my father's side of the family. Since she lived quite close, she often came to visit. Our family was just my father and I, so having her around was a big help.
The way you speak about her seems to imply you no longer see her. Did she get married and move away?
She died around 6 years ago.
Oh.
I see. And that has something to do with why you hate the nobility, right?
So...
I never really planned on telling anyone about this. But considering all we've been through, I suppose it's time I told you a little more about me. It's a long story, but would you hear me out?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Glad to.
Thanks. Sis was 9 years my senior. Beautiful, kind. To me, she was in every sense the ideal woman. Now, as I said earlier, we're a family of commoners through and through. But my father proved to be a very capable government official. And eventually, he was promoted to an important government position, where he started to make a name for himself. Honesty and integrity are a core part of his work ethic. So, of course, he made his fair share of enemies. But after seeing success in a number of major projects, he gained a reputation both inside and outside the government. My mother died when I was still young, but Sis happened to live around here and ended up helping us in more ways than I can count. Since she was his niece, my father always made a fuss over her. And even though she didn't live in the same house, she was like a real sister to me, and a real daughter to my father. I was always so proud of her. As a child, she was practically my idol. And as you'd expect, she had countless admirers among the men of the city. But for all her popularity, she was always level-headed and sensible. So I never felt I had anything to worry about. Until he appeared. He was one of my father's subordinates at City Hall. Though unlike him, he was a noble by birth. A man of high rank, too. The heir of a count. However, he had none of the arrogance or haughtiness one usually associates with the nobility. When I met him myself, he came across as an honest and loyal man. He met Sis when Dad introduced him to her one day. And eventually, the two of them fell in love and began a relationship, despite the difference in their social status. As a child, I was frustrated beyond words. But even I had to admit that the two of them made a good couple. And Sis seemed so happy when she was with him that I had no choice but to let it go and accept their relationship. Time went on and they became engaged, with Dad acting as the go-between. And that's when everything started to fall apart. His family couldn't have been more blatant in their attempts to undermine the relationship. Apparently, one of the four great houses, House Cayenne, proposed an arranged marriage on short notice. And the Count's family were up in arms at the thought he might choose to take a mere commoner as his wife. Since my father held an important post, they were limited in how shamelessly they could try to sabotage the marriage. But they began to harass and threaten her in secret every way they could think of. They made her life a living hell. Maybe she didn't want to cause trouble for the man she loved, or perhaps she did it out of consideration for my father. But all that time, she chose to endure it alone. She never discussed it or asked for help. And finally, it became so crushing that she took her own life. It was only afterward that my father and I learned what had really happened. It seems that at the very last, he had chosen to betray her love for him. "But I told her," he said. "I told her I'd treasure her as my mistress instead if she'd just accept that we couldn't be married. I just don't understand it. Why would she take her own life?" After that, my father seemed to redouble his efforts. It was like watching a machine kick into high gear. With the help of his ally, Chancellor Osborne, he was able to wrest control of City Hall from the noble faction. Then, 4 years ago, he was appointed to his current position as governor of Heimdall. And that's how the Regnitz family came to be where it is.
I don't even know what to say.
So that's why you started hating nobles?
Yeah. I was so furious at Sis's death. My hatred needed to be directed at someone. Anyone. First I blamed her fiancé, then his family, and the family of the Duke who tried to intervene. In the end, I just hated the nobility as a whole. The people, their culture, the entire idea of social classes. I desperately wanted the strength to win against them, to show how right I was, how wrong they were. But deep down, I knew the truth about my hate. I knew I was taking out my anger on people who didn't deserve it. People who had done nothing wrong.
You did?
They may be from different social classes, but people are still individuals. Sis's fiancé was faithful to her. He just wasn't strong enough to shield her from all that ugliness, despite his love. And the Count and his family were only acting in their best interests, which is to be expected, really. Ultimately, I've had to acknowledge that not all commoners are good people, and not all nobles are unworthy of respect. Eustace might not have done much to change my opinion, but getting to know you two showed me that there are nobles who live up to that name.
Machias.
I have no idea how my father feels about all of this, but this is how I've come to feel.
I see. You have my thanks.
I'm glad you felt you could talk to us about it.
Still, I don't think it hurt to be a bit more honest with yourself. If you're willing to admit all of that, maybe you can find it in you to be friends with Eustace too.
Are you kidding me? I might accept that not all nobles are bad, but that arrogant, self-centered fool can go choke on a palm. Always mocking me for spending so much time studying, or telling me I need to get out more.
I don't think he goes quite that far. Besides, I don't think he does it on purpose. He doesn't mean any harm.
That's the most irritating part! He does it without thinking!
Well, that was a good coffee break, wouldn't you say?
I'm trying to fix this.